when I was younger, when I was in my 20s and when I started making film, the success is like how what the world is conditioned to perceive is like, again, winning awards, being very famous, being popular, and being a celebrity, and lots of money. But with time, and as I am in my early 30s now, for me, the definition of success is being much more peaceful, I would say, like with whatever I have, whatever I'm doing.
Hi, and welcome to Indian Explorers. In this podcast, we talk about Indian success stories. I am Sabrina, and together with my co host Amit, we will get to understand the journey of our guests and what drives them. The optimism, patience, idealism, and courage, these are their attributes that we want to bring to life in these conversations with them. If you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button and share this podcast with others. So, good morning. Today is the first episode we're recording in the new year. Not the first episode listeners will hear,
Happy New
but
Year.
I wanted to Happy New Year. So, I wanted to ask you a couple of listeners have reached out to me and asked if we have a list of books that our former guests have recommended, because sometimes we ask them, what's your favorite book? What's the book that you would gift to others? And they throw out a few names, but we haven't kept a list yet. So we're starting to do that. So I wanted to ask you what you're reading these days.
Uh, I'm reading really not so great books. I'm reading a book called .com Secrets. I'm reading a book called 100 Million something. I forgot. I'm reading a book by Shane Parrish,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is something called Clear Mind or something like that. They're all basically business marketing type books,
Okay.
uh, but nothing that I've read so far has really caught my attention or inspired me this year. But I do
Okay.
want to read more this year.
So I ask because it got me thinking when people were writing and asking, what's the list of books? I want to know what your guests are reading. That research shows that the most successful people are high volume readers, right? So Warren Buffett, apparently, this is what I read online. Don't believe everything you read, but Warren Buffett reads about 8 hours a day. I'm sure he has the time to do that.
Wow.
Mark Cuban reads about 3 hours a day. And Bill Gates aims to read 50 books a year.
I think Zuck does as well. Zuckerberg.
So you remember, well, obviously you do. Our guest Trudy Madden had recommended this book, Outliers.
Okay.
What makes successful people outliers from others? And it's funny because I ordered the book and then we actually had a copy. And so I gave that copy to someone else and I've been reading it and it's fabulous. So, okay, some statistics, okay? Um, People aged 15 to 44 read on average how many minutes per day? Now it's your turn to answer questions.
15 to what?
15 to 44. And this is US. Okay,
I,
US data.
I would say under 10 minutes a day.
Excellent, right? Average of 10 minutes. 51 and older spend an average of how many minutes per day?
Of those who do, I would say maybe 25 minutes.
50 minutes. Huge difference.
Hmm.
And teenagers, 1 in 3 teens didn't read a book last year because they're all on social media.
They're on TikTok, Sabrina.
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. So one more stat, okay? Asian countries lead the world in reading. Which Asian country do you think reads the most?
It's got to be either Japan or South Korea.
It's India. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. They're
India.
learning, they're mugging for the exams. They're just reading everything to learn.
They're
They're
examining this.
memorizing. Memorizing is different to reading, Sabrina.
So they read an average of 10 hours and 42 minutes per week. but it's funny because I'm like, how did they get this? How does research get this 10 hours and 42 minutes, right? What are they looking at? And then followed by Thailand and then China. So my point is we're going to start posting what our guests read, because it's great. I want to do what they're doing, right?
Okay, so
And
instead of just what defines success, we should also ask them what books are they reading currently.
I think so. I think people
Yep,
want to hear. I want to hear.
let's do
Um,
that. Let's start today.
let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
do it. What else? What else do you have going on?
I was reading Jeffrey Epstein's
Oh, here
list.
we
I was
go.
no, I was just well, I was surprised no Naval Roy was in that list. I thought us rich, influential Naval Roys, one of us would be on the list, but it
That's
wasn't to be.
wrong. Wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, yeah. Elon Musk wasn't on that list, was he?
Well, they haven't released the entire list yet.
Yeah,
They've only shared a few names. I mean, the scummy Prince Andrew.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Michael Jackson, I heard, is on the list, which, God, I'm such a big fan, but that might, I don't know.
Anyway,
Be
I
really
think just because you're on the list doesn't mean you're guilty. So let's move on. It's garbage. Let's move on. I guess it's just a distraction from the war. The reason why I mentioned Elon Musk, Sabrina, is because I mean I just said he's the most annoying guy in last week's episode, but at the same time he's the most annoying slash impressive
You're
individual.
fascinated by him, by what he does, not by him, by what he does.
Let me ask you, since you asked me for some, under 10
Oh boy.
minutes, I want you to answer what is the market valuation of all his companies, right? So let's start with Tesla. How much is Tesla worth today?
I'm the worst at this. Am I going to throw out
Let,
a
let me
crazy
help you.
number?
Let me help you.
Okay.
In his four, five, six companies that he owns, runs, it's about $1 trillion in market cap.
Total. Okay.
Total, right? And let's just say Tesla and SpaceLink are, the top two. So
Okay.
that's my clue for the day. Let's start with Tesla, which is the most valuable. What do you think Tesla's worth?
100 billion.
Okay, well, Tesla's worth 750 billion. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. What do you think SpaceLink is worth?
Don't ask me. Now I'm like,
SpaceLink is worth exactly 150 billion.
much less? I thought it would be reverse.
The,
Well,
the,
no,
the
makes
issue
sense.
is
Makes sense.
Tesla's public
Yes,
and has gone
exactly.
through a lot of funding rounds.
Yes.
SpaceLink is
Yeah.
still private,
Okay.
right? So when
Yeah. That's
SpaceLink goes
true.
IPO, probably next year,
Yeah.
probably be worth over
Then,
200 billion. Yeah.
yeah.
And then he's also got, that tunnel company, the boring company?
I don't know.
No, the tunnels that he does in Las Vegas. He just
Oh,
goes,
that's right. Yeah. I just heard about those.
yeah. So that's about 6 billion.
Really? And what about X? How much is that worth now?
So X, he bought it for 44 billion. And just this week, somebody said that it's worth, I think Fidelity, that's an investor in the company, put it in their books at around 15 billion.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's also that chip company in the brain, that
Mm-hmm.
he's testing on
Yep.
monkeys. It's called
Yep.
Neuralink, I think it's called.
Okay.
Neuralink. Guess what that's worth? That's also private.
Mm, 2 billion.
It's 5 billion.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
not
And I
bad
don't
off.
even know, Ad Astra, that school he started, what that's worth.
Yeah,
But
you
if you
told me
add the
about that.
15 billion plus 5 plus 6 plus 150 plus 750,
Yeah, he's close to that
it's close
trillion.
to, that's 900 and something. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
impressive.
I just think he's annoying, but he's super, super impressive. There's no two ways
Yeah.
about it. Because, you have your Steve Jobs, you have your, Jeff Bezos. They're mainly known for one company. Okay, if
Yeah. And
AWS
he's
splits up from Amazon,
diversified.
that's two companies. Um, I guess Google, if Google splits YouTube and, Gmail and all the assets, they
And
could
all
do
the
another
other things they're doing like really, really diversifying Google. But
crazy.
I mean,
crazy.
this is one man that's really spearheading such diverse companies.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anyways, he's our role model slash annoying slash scientist slash genius. Uh, I think I thought Sam Altman, the OpenAI guy, I thought he was
Mm-hmm.
going to be Time Person of the Year, but it's Taylor's world. We just live in it. So
Yep, that's right.
yeah, yeah.
I want to know what Elon Musk is reading, so I'm going to look that up later.
I don't think he's got time for reading. I think he's on audiobooks or something. Should we jump onto our guest today, Sabrina?
Yeah, I'm
Let's
I'm
learn a little bit
excited for this.
about our culture.
Yeah, our culture and the short film industry. So let's do
Sounds
it.
good. Let's do it.
So we're really excited to have Keya Vaswani with us today. She was raised in a creatively progressive family from Raipur. Keya is a self-trained, nationally award-winning documentary filmmaker and founder of Storyloom Films. Storyloom Films is a national award-winning, Forbes-featured documentary and fashion filmmaking company. She has produced over 42 short films in the last 10 years. She has won the National Film Award for her film Weaves of Maheshwar in 2016 and is also a TEDx speaker. So, welcome, Keya. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. I'm glad and thank you for the opportunity to have me on board.
Of course.
Hi, Kaya. How are you?
Hey, Amit, I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you again. Kaya, let's start from the beginning. Let's get to know you. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe where you were born? Where did you study? A little bit about your upbringing, please.
Sure. So I belong to this city called Raipur, which is the capital of Chhattisgarh, and Chhattisgarh is one of the states in India. My schooling I did from Rajkumar College, which was an ICSC board. So all my childhood, like till my 12th grade, I was in Raipur, and my childhood has been amazing, thanks to my amazing family. Because even if they are in their profession, but they all of them have a creative background. Like my dad is in merchant navy, but he is a very good photographer. My mom is a beautiful homemaker, but she has amazing aesthetic. And what you're seeing in the background, I think this is something that I've learned from her. And my brother is also into filmmaking. And I think, uh, I can say that the idea of telling stories through film has come because in my childhood I've traveled a lot, uh, in
Okay.
India as well as outside. So yeah, I've learned to observe and see and meet people.
That's what I was curious about where this all started because you went to design school, right? After college, you went to Indian Institute of Crafts and Design.
Hmm. Right. So
Okay. And then, so in your, oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no,
Tell us
no.
about that.
Continue. No, no, please continue.
No, I wanted to know what that experience was. And what I read was that your graduation project, instead of creating a final product, you created your first short film. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. When I was searching for design colleges in India, somewhere I knew that I want to go towards the creative side, and because something that I have naturally, and I was still exploring like what design do I want to explore. I came across this college called Indian Institute of Crafts and Design, which is in Jaipur. Again, one of the city which is in Rajasthan, a state in India. And I found it very different and also very relatable because I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to take me to all these exhibitions that used to happen in Raipur. So somehow, when I entered the college, I was already aware about the craft that I've seen in my childhood. So there was a relatable factor. Like I could say that it was my childhood memory when I joined my college, and that's why I was all excited to learn what there is in product designing, but it is related to handicrafts. And during like first, second, third year, I was enjoying everything, but somewhere I remember I continuously had this feeling of that, product designing is great, it's amazing, but I always like there is something beyond this. And what is that beyond? I also remember writing in a diary that I still have, where I've written that, I want to do something more than just designing a product. I know that there is beyond this. I'm looking for peace, like a lot of different things. And during my diploma project, so in design college, at the end of the fourth year, you have this diploma project, and it's like you have to show your the 4 year learning, that like whatever you have learned in these 4 years, that is the final project that you do.
Your skills.
Your skills, your talent, everything, like whatever you have learned during these 4 years. And like I said, that I wanted to do something else other than product designing in handicrafts. I was looking into different fields, like maybe making a graphic book, because I do illustrations as well, or maybe just writing book. I was looking to find different people who are doing something else in craft sector. And fortunately, my best friend Nidhi, she came to my room one day and she said, Ki, Kia, listen, I am looking for a project in Banaras with a renowned textile historian Padma Shri Rahul Jain. And he wants us to make a film. So, do you want to join? Like, do you want to come on board? And like my memories, it's like whenever I have gone out with my best friends, I've always come back fighting with them, and we never spoke again. So I was very skeptical. I was scared whether I should do this or not. So I told her, just give me a day or two to think, because I don't want to ruin our friendship. But again, like, it was something different that I actually she offered. So I thought, chalo, let's see. In Hindi we say ki dekhi jayegi, we'll see whatever happens. Let us just do this.
Chalo. I like that. Chalo.
Yeah. So yeah, I told her, ki, okay, let's
Chalo.
let's let's just do it. We'll see whatever happens. And after that, so Nidhi and I, we both had to travel to Banaras. We had to stay there for 4 months. And one of the most beautiful part about this whole project is our mentor Rahul Jain was brilliant. So what we have learned during college, for example, whenever we are exploring any material, we are always told to first understand the material, do all the research, and then you start working. And since the beginning, whenever the project start, you have that, okay, you have to start working immediately as soon as you're getting any project. But with Rahul, he told us that, girls, you know what, like, don't work for a month, because you're there for 4 months. For a month, just enjoy the city, get the gist of it, get the feel, try and understand everything that is possible. And only then, when you feel that uh, the right moment for you, that is when you should start working. And that shifted everything for us, because I am a person again who loves to first observe something and then go ahead with it. So for a month, Nidhi and I, we both got to explore the city as much as possible. We were so much in awe of that place. I remember when we came back after our diploma project, we were just showing off that, oh, you know what, Banaras is this, Banaras is that, Jaipur is so bad.
How big is Benares?
Where is
Banaras.
Banaras?
Yeah.
So Banaras is a small city, but it is considered one of the ancient cities of the world, and where you have this holy river Ganga that is flowing. And how it started, where all when long back, when we have these rajas, maharajas, they all from all different state, they have made, you can say, like their homestays near Ganga. And the temple, Kashi Vishwanath temple, is one of the most renowned temple in India. Like a lot of people come to visit that temple. So all the maharajas from different states of India, they've made their home, made their places. So what I observed, that Banaras was like a mini world that i I never imagined, because what you have heard about that city, because it is in Uttar Pradesh, you always have heard different stories about it, that it's not safe, and it's not such a good city to be in. And initially, yes, like we both were skeptical whether this was the right decision or not. And yes, we were observing, all the bad things. But later we
Where did you
started,
stay?
uh, we
There's no
actually rented a.
Taj. There's no Taj or Leela Hotel.
No, there is, but we couldn't afford, because we were on our diploma project and we had like very basic monthly amount, maybe like 3,000 that is coming in, 3,000, 5,000. That's it. So we had to manage that. But we were lucky, we
So
found,
where did you stay?
we rented this small room actually on one of the main ghat called Assi Ghat. It is the most popular ghat there, and our house was right like on the bank of Ganga. Like when you open the window, you can see Ganga River. And also, fortunately, it was a 300-year-old house, where you had this temple where Tulsi Das, who has written Ramayana, once like he sat and recited Ramayana. So I think
Oh, that's so
everything
cool.
together just made the experience for us so beautiful, because like I said, that it was a mini world out there. So from, exploring different
I,
food like Japanese, we had the first pizza, like authentic pizza in Banaras. Imagine that.
So
and
then you're the Oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to say you're staying with your friend who brought you this
Yes.
project 4 months in a really small rented apartment. I'm assuming you're not friends with her anymore. The friendship is gone.
No, we're still friends, but she's gone out for further studies. So yes, like now she's got busy with her different life.
Got it.
So I watched Threads of Banaras, which was your final
Yes.
project, right? Which
Right.
led you to do other films. And before we keep going, I have to tell you, watching your films gave me an appreciation. I'm not even going to say more appreciation. It just gave me appreciation for all the Indian outfits I order, I wear, because I've been to India and I've bought outfits. I've ordered online. I've gone to a shop in the US and bought outfits. And I just keep looking, oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. But now I truly have an appreciation. So tell us more, like, tell us about the film.
The
Tell us
fashion,
the people who are crafting these beautiful pieces. Tell us about that.
So I am so glad that you said this, because this is what my intention was when I started making film on crafts. And like this is a very strong reason for me, because I've studied craft for 4 years. And whenever I've been to exhibition, whenever I've met people, people are able to appreciate, yes, but because they don't know how it is being made, they don't know who is the person who's making it, where are they sitting, like in India. And also like somewhere people, whenever we use this word called artisan or craftsman, somewhere like people have this sympathy and they look down upon them. And this is something that like what we both wanted to change, because we know we've studied craft for 4 years and this is something that needs to be celebrated. I keep using this word called tehrav, and there is no literal like English translation to this word, but the closer word can be like a pause, like a beautiful, very calming pause. And when I use this word therav, so craft has a lot of patience, it has a lot of pause, where you're just sitting there, you're just watching that craftsman meditating on that particular weave, and the sound of it wherever they are sitting, the colors and everything. And this is something that we like, what I wanted to bring on screen, like the appreciation. And somewhere, coming from a design background, it really helped me to understand my audience. And I knew ki if I can show something like this, I definitely know people will start appreciating, because like we really love Indian crafts, we really love those colors and how it is being made, we all go to this exhibition.
I don't think people understand that crafting in India, which is the second largest industry in India, also
Right.
includes creating garments.
Right. Right. Absolutely. There's one away, not
And
just like across the
that's what
world,
I
but
was
even
shocked
in
about.
India. Even in India, because again, like nobody actually talks about it. It is now when I see, because of Instagram, you have certain people now who are going out there, they are trying to tell. But when I started, there was like no other film who's talking about it. There was zero awareness about something like this. Like somehow it was just the I would say the knowledge just vanished. Like yes, you were buying something, but you really don't know what you are actually buying and whom are you buying from.
There's a story behind what you're buying.
Right. Right.
Yep.
can I ask you something? I'm
Sure.
trying to understand. Sabrina mentioned something about second largest industry. If we look at India today, approx 1.4 billion people, about 500 million live in cities, Bombay, Delhi, Chennai, etc. About
Mhm.
900 million live in rural cities. Any idea the size of the market?
Okay. This is something that I haven't studied for a very long time. I think when I began making films, my
Your
information is
guess.
really outdated. So, no, I think I'm just going to make a wrong guess. So, maybe what I can do is
I'm
I can
used to it
search
with
up
Sabrina. Don't worry.
the
It's
answer.
true.
You know, can I make a criticism if I may, Kea?
Sure,
First
go
of
ahead.
all, I don't think what you do is movies. I think
Hmm.
what you do mini documentaries,
Right,
because I found all your movies to be like 7, 8 minutes. So when I think of movies, I think of 90 minutes. And when I think of an Indian movie, I think of 3 hours. So
right.
first of all, I think you are more of a short film. Uh, now, the movies themselves, I saw about half a dozen. They were beautiful, beautiful. The colors, the the one about the girls' school was beautiful. There was some designer who had like his wedding collection that was
Right.
beautiful.
Rahul Mishra, yes.
However, I found the music, I found the music in all of them, I won't say depressing, but I found them like the type of songs that I hear when I'm doing a massage. I found it like a Pilates or yoga session. Like,
Soothing. They're
like
soothing music.
yeah, but I was expecting more upbeat Bollywood, Punjabi, type of music. I don't know if that's on purpose. And my question is, who chooses what you do? Because I know some of the brands have hired you to do such documentaries or movies. Uh,
Hmm.
how does the whole business work? Do you decide I want to do this and then go get a brand, or does the
Hmm.
brand come to you and say, "Hey, I have an idea. Can you just walk us through the thinking and the process?"
Sure, sure. So let's answer your first question when we are talking about the music. So when we are asking that, generally we expect that to play like a Bollywood, Hindi, Punjabi music. What I've observed as a filmmaker is like whenever I see any documentary on Discovery or National Geography, and whenever a non-Indian person is making a film, because they are not aware about the variations of the genre of Indian music, they end up choosing only Bollywood because that is what is being showed like most of the time in media or news channel. So it's actually honestly whenever
And
I
it's
used to,
happy.
it's yeah, it's happy, but again, like you need to understand, is it relevant for like what you're actually watching? So imagine if I'm playing a Punjabi music on a very beautiful, like when I'm talking about this craft, it has patience, but there's a ting ding 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 going on. I just know that that's not the right music for it.
Yeah.
So
Fair
yeah,
point. Fair point.
And that's why she's the expert.
Yeah, 1-0 to you. You win the argument.
actually very
Kaya, my
patient because
favorite so
Mhm.
far, my favorite was Knots of Tradition about Bandhani, the creation of the Bandhani.
Right,
Oh
right.
my gosh, it was so neat to see how that's made. Um, and just so cool. I really enjoyed that one. And it
Thank you
had
so
the
Sabrina,
much.
same music.
she didn't answer. First of all, congrats on your research, Sabrina, like always. She didn't answer my second question
Oh
about the
yes, that's right.
business. I want to know, like, when Good Earth or Flipkart or Tab India, do they
Mhm.
approach you? How do they know who you are? Do you have like a marketing person contacting these brands looking for these opportunities? Like, just walk me through that.
Right. So sure. So when I started making film in 2012, like when Nidhi and I, we both were working together, because at that time nobody knew who we are, like what Storyloom Film is and what we do. We used to reach out to people, and it's basic, like giving them a call, a lot of cold calling, emails, everything, as much as possible to reach out, going in different conferences if we can come across. So so one of the big brand called Good Earth, which is in from India, and they are like one of the big brands who are working in the craft industry. They are very niche. I remember when
I love their stores.
yeah, it's beautiful, and I also love the whole
Beautiful,
experience of
beautiful.
going in a Good Earth store. So
The
Leila,
smell, it smells beautiful.
yeah, and each store has a different smell. So for me, like we have these association with smells. There's particular smell when it takes me to Bombay to their office where we used to work for 2 months. So yeah. But so going back to how I reach out to these brands. So one of the personality who is working in craft sector, Leila Tayyibji, she is again like a very known popular name and face who has helped this craft sector in India for the upliftment. And she came to our college for one of the conferences. And I remember Nidhi reached out to her saying that, we are just these two girls who are making different films. So this was the beginning. But now, because it has been, we started in 2012, today is 2024. So approximately like 13 years now. Because now we've made so many films, now people know what Storyloom Films is, what I do. So now people reach out to us. But still, because other than brands reaching out to us, I also have my stories to tell. So I am also reaching out to different brands. So it is having like in both ways.
Okay. Is your niche short documentary films?
It is like majorly yes, but I have like Weaves of Maheshwar is a half an hour film, and it is now
Okay.
when I am
Yep.
planning to make a like go into a bigger like a one hour film. But yes, like short film is
Okay.
my niche. I can say that.
Can we discuss money? Like,
Sure.
do you make money? Are you paid by the brands to do these movies? Who's responsible for the release on YouTube and social media? Who is paying for advertising? Uh, like, I'm more interested in really finding out the money side
Sure.
of this
So
business.
whenever I am working with a brand, so brand is the financer. They give us the brief that what kind of film are they expecting, but I am the one who's providing them with the story, the concept, the scripting, and the budget. But because they are the financer, definitely the brand pays us, and because here the author, it's the brand. Like first author is the brand, and then second comes Storyloom Films. We both have rights, but
So
because it's their
copyrights
yeah,
with the brand.
right.
You're the
So
creative director.
yes, I'm the director, I'm the creative director,
Got it.
producer, but the brand is the financer. So they decide whenever they want to release
Got
a
it.
film. Like recently, I made a film on regenerative cotton farming, which is a half an hour film, and it's been now I think 1 year. It is like still like not yet released because the brand has to release that film. So if I'm working with the brand, they decide. But when I am making my independent film
Sure.
under a fellowship or maybe using my finances, that is when I decide that when do I want to release my
Let's talk about Weaves of Maheshwar. Okay.
film.
That's your award-winning film. And I saw that. Where is it? Well, tell us about it. Tell us about that film, how it started,
Okay, so
the
Weaves of
inspiration.
Right, right. So, during like I was telling you that we used to write a lot of emails and we were reaching out to different people. We came across this page called People's Archive of Rural India. In short form, it's called Pari, and which is founded by Mr. P. Sainath. And we could see that there's a lot of fellowship that exists like under photography and making films and different stories, different way of bringing out stories from rural India. And that is when we saw that they are looking for a film on different like on craft of India and the story that is there. We reached out to them and finally we got the fellowship. Now the initial brief was to bring out the issues of weaving that India is facing. And for that, Nidhi and I, we both choose this place called Maheshwar and the sari, Maheshwari sari. I think the beautiful story here is that all of us, whenever we make film, and this is a great learning for me as a filmmaker as well, and I think in other parts of life, that we all go out with a preconceived notion whenever we are meeting someone, whenever we are reading something. And we went out with a preconceived notion that oh, the weaving is actually dying in Maheshwar, and there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of issues, and this is something that we need to make a film on. When we started researching there, when we started talking to people, we were asking these command embedded question about what is the issue there, are you facing any problem, and you're like continuously just searching for problem and issues. And some days later we realize that like people are actually not facing any problems somewhere as compared to the other states in India, weaving states and craftsmen. They're actually quite satisfied and happy. So let's just focus on that. Like, how is it possible? And when we started exploring that, we understood that Maheshwar is that one place where actually the craft and the weaving is thriving. It was about to die, but thanks to Sally Holker, who belongs to the royal family and who has this foundation called Reva and Women Weave, actually the craft is thriving. People are actually flowing into Maheshwar to earn much more money. And that is when we decided that we have to make an inspirational story about it. Yes, like there are issues in the craft sector, but here we have one story where we can talk about inspiration and how together as a community they were able to change their destiny. And that is what Weaves of Maheshwar is all about. It is about Maheshwar inspirational journey.
It's a beautiful film, beautiful, and congratulations on that one. I wanted to ask you, one of the challenges facing these, craftsmen and women, 90% of India still produces handloom, but will
Right.
AI be a challenge for them?
I think it really it really depends how we are approaching AI, and maybe more than them, like whoever the person is, whoever is introducing AI, are they smart enough? Because somewhere we also need to understand that things will change. Few years back we all were scared of computers, that it's just going to take over the job, but eventually we learn to work with the machines, right? Similarly, I think that if we use AI in the right way, it can really help us to become much more smarter, maybe much more faster in our work. Because somewhere I think with time, yes, there is handloom, everything is there, but we also need to understand that the changing time, this is something that we cannot stop. So with time also, just like how language is evolving, right? In India today, when we speak Hindi, it's a mix of English, Urdu, Farsi, Hindi, Sanskrit. And somewhere, because Sanskrit, the original language of this country, because it was not able to evolve and change with time, somewhere now it has reduced to one village. So just like how we are evolving with the language, we have to remember that we have to evolve with whatever profession that we are doing. And I strongly feel that same goes with craft. So maintaining the authenticity and the beauty of it, and how hard people are working while maintaining that, we need to think that how can we involve AI in a smarter way, who can help us become more productive, just enhancing our work. So I think if it's used in the right way, then definitely it's going to help.
Yeah, hopefully it is, right? Um, what's your next
Yes.
project?
My next projects is actually, so recently I've started producing fiction film as well.
Oh,
And my next project is about a fiction film where we are trying to bring in this awareness about the kind of material that we are using as consumer. And my target audience is this Gen Z from 16 to 24-year-old. So I'm also very happy about that, because now I'm doing all the research of their consumer behavior and how do they think.
yeah.
And just like, I mean, right now, like we are working on the concept, but yeah, like now I'm excited that with time now I have also started experimenting with not just documentary films but fiction film as well.
Okay.
That's
Very
awesome.
interesting.
Can you tell us about TEDx, the TED speech you did? How does one get invited by TEDx to speak? I'm asking for
So
Sabrina.
here, great. So I think what happened with us for the TED Talk is, Nidhi had one of the faculty from her school in Baroda who was teaching in this school called Delhi Public School in Gurgaon. which is very near to Delhi. And because TEDx was happening in Gurgaon during that time, and the faculty was aware about what Nidhi and her friend Keya is doing, and then that is how she reached out to us that this is what
Right.
is happening, and I think like you girls should come in.
It
Okay.
seems like your partner is
Yeah. But
extremely
other than
influential.
that, like if somebody does not, sorry.
I said it seems like your partner is very influential, very well networked.
Oh, definitely. Like she has a great PR skill. I think when we used to work together, I am the one who used to handle all the creative and the direction side majorly, and Nidhi used to handle the PR and getting the projects on board. So it
Good
was
combination.
very well sorted. Yeah,
Good
it
teamwork.
was
It's a
beautiful.
bit like me and Sabrina.
I don't even know where you're going with that. I did want
I'm
to ask
Nidhi.
Amitu.
I'm Nidhi, Sabrina, and you are Keya. It's
No,
the
it's
same
true.
thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
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 Um, wait, I want to
Awesome.
tell
And I
Amitu.
think I can sense that now with the different kind of questions that you are asking. So you're absolutely bang
Oh,
on
yeah,
with
it's
this.
true, right? Amitu, do you speak Hindi?
Right.
Not a word. And I lived 9 years in the country.
That's what I was wondering. When Kea, you mentioned how the language has evolved in India, I was wondering if he spoke Hindi. But
I know the
wow.
bad words.
Mhm.
Aage, sida, left, right, when you're in your rickshaw. But every time I got lost, I would just call up. I remember calling up Shabnam, my friend, and just go, Shabnam, 1 second, do this. And she would just speak to them in Hindi. I was too embarrassed to
How
call my
long like you've
girlfriend,
spent
Chandani. So I was calling my friends, I was too
Mhm.
embarrassed to call my now wife.
But how much time did you spend here in India?
9 years.
9 years.
Nine
That's a long time.
years. I
And
know.
where in India?
Bombay, Bangalore. I was in Gurgaon for a couple of
Hmm.
weeks, um, but mainly Bombay, 8 years. Bangalore, 6 months. I love
Nine
India.
years is a good time. Like you should have also learned Marathi then, not just Hindi
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
Bombay.
No,
Yeah,
when
I
you're
agree.
there, you pick up the sentences, and I had help at home, and they didn't speak English, so eventually you learn a few phrases, and then you go watch a few Bollywood movies with
Uh-huh.
your friends. But like, I understand Sindhi perfectly, but I understand maybe 30-40% of Hindi. So when I go watch a Bollywood movie, I do bug the person next to me always.
What did they say? What did they
Sadly,
say?
I don't
Yeah,
understand Sindhi because, like, I think my grandfather, Dadaji, was Sindhi. Like, he came from Sindh when the partition was happening.
with your
But my
last name,
Aji, she was Marathi. Yeah.
you
So
have the
it's
most
they had
Sindhi
a love
surname.
marriage back then. Yeah, yeah, definitely because like that's my grandfather's surname. But whenever I go back home, my both the grandparents are not there. But when my Aji was there, it's a Marathi family. Like my father's side is completely Marathi,
Okay.
and
Right.
we are like somewhere like in between, just Hindi speakers.
We won't hold that against you. We are pakka Sindhis. We are pakka Sindhis. Chalo. Sabrina, next.
Yes.
Next, should we talk about success?
Success or what you're reading?
Sure.
You decide, Sabrina.
Okay.
You lead.
So, Kaya, our introduction today, we have an intro before every podcast. We talked about books. Are you reading anything these days?
Hmm.
What are you reading?
I have started, like just started because I used to read a lot, but then I got busy and then distracted. So my reading has stopped. So what I can talk about it, like because I've just read one page. It's called The Art of Observing. Like a friend gave to me.
Okay.
And this books talks about like observing something as simple as let's say trees, but how differently can you observe it? Like generally what you do every day. So it's just the first page that I've read. But if I can talk about like all the books that I've read,
Your favorite
and
book.
one of my
Favorite
favorite
book?
book, yeah, so my favorite book is a Hindi book, and I love reading Hindi because, yeah, like I've heard stories from my mom in Hindi, and I think in Hindi. So this book is by late Narendra Kohli, who's a brilliant Hindi author, And this book is called Na Bhuto Na Bhavishyati, which means nor past nor future. And it's about inspired from Swami Vivekananda's life. So he has picked out different incidences and has created a fictional book. And it's beautiful. That was my first Hindi book ever. It was this thick, but it was so interesting that okay, initially I had a lot of struggle. I was just using dictionary, but this book changed my perspective about how I look at my country, about like so many stories that I never knew about Swami Vivekanand, about Hinduism as well, like what is being projected and what it is. Like my respect for my culture and my root just changed because of that
Mm.
one book.
I'm sure it's in English by now, right? The
Yeah,
book? It must be in English as well.
I'm sure it must have been translated.
Sabrina, let's do some homework. Find the
Yes,
book in English and put that in the show
absolutely.
notes. We can leave it in Hindi as well in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
we'll do both.
you know, it sounds extremely interesting, Kea.
So,
That book.
Kaya, the reason I asked too is we were talking in our introduction today that research shows that the most successful people are high volume readers. And that's why I asked. And of
Mhm.
course, you recommended a new book that no one has recommended yet. And even the art of observing, that sounds fascinating. So we'll make sure to add that for people
Yeah.
Yeah.
to look at.
Kea,
Sure. Sure.
what's your definition of success, Kea? Are you successful today? Has that definition evolved over time? Does it depend if you didn't win the award for your movie, your short film? Like, what's your definition?
So I think I'm gonna go with yes. My definition of success is still changing, is still evolving. But when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, and when I started making film, the success is like how what the world is conditioned to perceive is like again winning awards, being very famous, being popular, and being a celebrity, and lots of money. But with time, and as I am in my early 30s now, for me, the definition of success is being much more peaceful, I would say, like with whatever I have, whatever I'm doing, just understanding. Because I remember a few months back I was very restless because I think I'm still in a phase, because I've made movies and short films for almost like 13, 14 years, working aggressively. And I think when I was speaking to my therapist, she told me that in every 10-year span, uh, every human goes through a shift. So when you're in 20s, you goes through a shift, and when you're in 30s and 40s, that's how. So because I'm still going through that shift, I've sort of taken a little pause and like taking films, but not so aggressively. And now I'm trying to understand life, asking myself again that okay, now what else can I do to add to my life. Again, ask, I can't believe you asked this me question literally 2 days back when I met a friend. And because I journal every day, recently I've started, I actually wrote this question down, like what is success to me. I really need to ask this to
Oh, that's
myself.
great.
And yes, I understand. Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad that you
I
asked this question.
I'm
So
very
yes,
glad
to
you brought up the
me
word
now success.
therapist. I didn't know there were therapists
Oh
in
yes,
India.
I'm very
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you just said that like
Uh,
nothing. And are people in India just openly talking about going to therapy? I thought that
yeah, it was
was
like me going to the
beautiful.
dentist. Yeah, Sabrina, that's awesome.
I think it's great. And
yeah. I think now people have like, in India people have opened up. Still they're opening up, but because yeah, like with time, I've become more confident to talk about it, and this is something now which is very normal actually.
I love that. I did not know that in India that ever like you talk about it freely. I
Sabrina,
think
I want a therapist. Where do I
you
go
need a
about it?
therapist. I
I
think it
want
would be
one.
good for you.
I don't think I need one. I want one. The only problem is, what's the difference between a therapist and a life coach?
Well, we had a life coach and she told you,
Oh
right?
wow.
Yeah. Did she mention therapy as well?
What I think a therapist gives you the tools. This is what she said. The therapist gives you the tools to overcome challenges, the life coach wants you to come up with the tools
Good memory,
to
Sabrina.
come over
Honestly,
the
I was just laughing in that podcast the whole time.
challenge.
Sorry,
Well,
back
I
to
love your
Kea.
answer about success. I think peace is wonderful, and I hope that is part of your evolution always. Peace, you know?
Who inspires you, Kea?
Definitely,
Do you look up
definitely.
to?
I think
Do you look up Steven Spielberg, or who inspires you out there?
who inspires me. So I can say right now, I am like observing much more Indian filmmakers and directors. So for me here, like from India, one is definitely Zoya Akhtar. She's popular. She's recently made Archies, but she's given brilliant film. Her film Luck by Chance, which was her first film, was brilliant and way ahead of time. And yeah, and Gully Boy is something that I really like. Other than Zoya Akhtar, Dibakar Banerjee is one of my favorite films. He makes very less film, but the films that he has made, like Khosla Ka Ghosla, is brilliant. It's brilliant. Like I love how his mind works. And another director, the most favorite director from India is Shujit Sirkar. Like for me, he's the top director because I've seen a lot of, like, even including me, like as a lot of directors have a certain kind of patterns in a film. Like you are able to easily make out if it's a Zoya Akhtar film or if it's an Anurag Kashyap's film. But Shujit Sirkar, like from making something film like Vicky Donor, which is highly comedy, to make something like Sardar Udham or Pink or Piku, there, like it's very different from each other. And I love how he's able to break that, like how he's able to break his own pattern. I love it.
What is the ultimate professional goal for you? Your professional dream in your.
Wow,
Oscar.
that's a deep question. I've never.
Well, I mean, is it to make
I
a
think every filmmaker has that,
is it to make a
but
blockbuster Bollywood film?
so I think my ultimate professional dream is actually to make a documentary, like a blockbuster documentary, I would say.
Okay.
Because generally documentaries are never made that entertaining in blockbuster. Like, yeah, like I want like how people watch Shah Rukh Khan film and they're like whistling and hooting. Maybe in one of my films and documentary, if people can do that, I think that is my ultimate goal.
That's great. That's great.
Great.
I'll see you at the.
Kea,
I know we'll be watching you win an Oscar one day.
okay, Kea,
I
we are
hope
going
that
to
too.
move
Keeping my
on to
fingers
a
crossed.
we're, we're going to move on to a section we call rapid fire, where Sabrina and I will ask you some short
Okay.
questions, and whatever comes on your mind, just shoot away. If you don't like any question, just say
Okay.
next. We'll come up with a new one. Um, Sabrina, do
All
you
right.
want to go ahead and start?
Sure. Tell us one fun fact not many people know about you.
Fun being the key word.
Okay. Fun fact. Fun being the keyword. Okay, so a lot of time when I'm alone, I imagine myself as an actor or like maybe a person on stage giving a lot of speeches, winning Oscars in my hand, like maybe just holding a remote and acting. So I do a lot of secret acting when I'm home alone.
That is cute. I
That's
love
all of us.
Yeah, I
That's
do
all of us,
that.
right, Sabrina?
I think
Okay,
that's my manifestation technique. I remember that's how, like, yeah, like
Yes.
the Storyloom film started because I was
I, I believe in that. If you could have dinner with
yeah.
anybody, hopefully famous, so that we know the celebrity too, who would that person be? He or she or they,
I would go with Shujit Sirka for sure,
the director. Great.
the film director.
Okay.
Yes.
Your favorite TV show or Netflix show?
Other than
There
Archie's,
are many, but I think there are many, but one of the recent shows that I was watching, like maybe the third time, is called Kim's Convenience. I quite like it because it talks about how like Southeast Asians are like living in Canada, and it's very relatable. It's very light. And
What's it
these
called?
Yes,
days
I've seen a
everything is
few
so heavy, so
episodes.
I like
What's it
it.
called?
Kim's
Yeah,
Convenience.
it's called the King's
KIM.
Convenience.
Mm-hmm. It's
Never
funny.
heard
Yes.
of
It's
it.
a
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
show. It's a good one.
Okay.
It's a funny show, yes.
Um, is it my turn, Sabrina?
Yes, sir.
Give us your bad habit, your vice, that thing that annoys you about you, but you still can't get over it.
So I am a person who keeps everything bottled up, and that's very annoying for me. Like this is something that I have to really learn to let go. But yeah, like even if I'm angry, even if I'm upset, I'm a people pleaser. Let's say that.
Aw.
So I want to let go of this.
I wouldn't know
Hey,
what that feels like.
first first thing is acknowledging it. So you've acknowledged it. It's like a therapy session here too.
Yes.
Sabrina, you're such a glass is half full kind of girl, huh?
Most of the time. Most of the time, but I'd say 75% of the time. Yeah.
Okay. Your turn,
I think
Okay.
Sabrina?
this is something that
Uh
I need to learn, Sabrina.
yeah. Okay, your dream project. Which brand would you like to get a call from?
Wow. If I can talk about my
LV.
dream project with no brand. So I
Okay,
want to
go for
make
it.
a film on emotional intelligence of animals.
Oh, yes, this is what you told me last time when we first spoke.
Yeah.
And I
I
couldn't
repeat,
remember what it is.
Yes.
I didn't get that. What about animals?
So my dream project is to make a film on emotional intelligence of animals.
Oh, okay, like dolphins and stuff.
You've
Yeah,
become an
like just
animal
simply
whisperer.
understand. Yes, I am. I am an animal whisperer. And because I now understand animals much more deeply and how do they think, and also how easy it is, I do want to bring that up. Like, if I can create, I remember long back when I was, again, like in my 20s, I wrote this thing on my diary that I want to make this world a better place for animals. And this is something that has been constant, like never changing thought inside me. So yeah, like I want to do something like that, be it films, be it maybe in any form. If I can do that,
I
that would
think
be my dream
Sabrina,
project.
Ambika, our
Yes,
previous guest said the same thing. Yeah,
we're releasing an episode next week that you have to watch because she has a
Hmm.
similar passion.
and I see a lot of similar traits between the two ladies.
Yes. We have to connect them. We have to have
Wow, I
a
would love to
party
meet
one
her.
day and bring all our guests together.
Yeah, and they yeah. Um,
Yes,
you've
please.
you you've Kaya, you've seen India. Like, I've seen Bombay, Delhi.
Hmm.
You know the you know the urban
Right.
where the rich live, so to speak. The 1% of India. You've seen India properly.
Hmm.
The beautiful India.
Right.
Um, you know, Modi's got his Make in India campaign, and I think about exporting manufacturing sector, but also crafts and textiles, which you have really lived and
Hmm.
seen. What do you recommend
Right.
for a tourist such as myself and Sabrina when we go to India, if we have to be really adventurous and
Hmm.
see a non-urban city, a tier 2, tier 3 rural city,
Right.
which is the one that you can recommend us
Hmm.
that we will go and fall in love with?
Okay, so the city that I can recommend you, smaller cities that you will love, I would begin from Jaipur itself, because as like to begin with, Jaipur has little bit of everything where I live. So from the royalty to the regional food, to the elitist, to the craft, because Jaipur is also a craft hub, like one of the craft hubs in India. And if you go to the old city that we call Pink City, you have these different lanes named on different craft. So there's this one craft called Thatera, which is basically a hand beaten craft on a steel surface or metal surface, and it comes from a sound called thak thak. So the lane is called Thatero Walo Ki Gali, which means the lane of the craftsmen of Thatera who practice this. So Jaipur is a beautiful place to explore all these little things that you will find in different places. Like it has a good combination of a smaller city and a bigger city, from, like I said, from regional to the elitist. It has everything.
Very cool.
Got it. So after Goa, I'll go to Jaipur.
Yes, come to Jaipur. Come to Jaipur in winters. You're just gonna love it, and especially during Diwali, it's all decked up. It's like a bride.
Great.
I love that.
One was enough. Kea, want to thank you for enlightening us. Really,
Mm.
I think I've learned a lot about the crafts and other Indian cities, and I think what you're doing is very creative and extraordinary. And I'm looking forward to the Oscar moment when Sabrina and I will say, "Hey, we interviewed her. We know this lady." So we don't need the acknowledgments, yeah, but we really thank you and really nice getting to know you.
No, thank you so much, both Sabrina and Amit. I had a wonderful time actually. Initially, I was a little nervous, to be very honest, but yeah, like as the thing moved forward, I just completely enjoyed this podcast,
Oh,
and I
good.
loved that how light and friendly it was. And I'm so glad that, like, when you told me the Scythians, which was published like so long back, you read that, which even I forgot. And to be very honest, I was like few actually days back, I was going through a very low phase where maybe, let's say, imposter syndrome, where I'm doubting myself. But with this podcast, I suddenly just felt, it's like a reminder for myself ki, oh, okay, I have done a lot of work, that's something that I completely forgot. So thanks to, actually, yeah, like for me it has become more than just a podcast.
Oh, I love
So
that.
thank you so much for
Well, I
reminding
find you
me.
impressive. I find your work impressive, and like I said, you gave me an appreciation for all these beautiful Indian fabrics and garments that we wear, and I think people need to appreciate all the
Yeah.
work and the craftsmanship that comes into it.
And Kea, also, we want your permission to
I'm so
post some of the links that you shared with us. We want to post it in the show notes so that people can see the videos that we saw.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the video of the girls' school. I don't know what it's called, but these girls in like the
Rajkumari
village,
Dattawati.
beautiful school, looked awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you
thank
so
you,
much. And it is
Kaya.
one of my favorite films, and especially the music.
Yes.
Yes, keep the music.
Thank you
Don't
so
change
Yes.
much.
anything
Thank
about the
you so much.
music. Don't change anything. I really enjoyed,
Yeah.
and I appreciate also that you had the subtitles. A lot of when
Oh, yes.
people were talking in Hindi, um, and you always had the subtitles, it really helped me at least.
Right. Because again, like film is for the audience, for everyone to watch. So not just people in India, but anyone from the world itself. And I think, again, like being a designer, yeah, you have these plus points of thinking, okay, where can I?
Thank you, Kaya. Thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been another episode of Indian Explorers, and we hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and share with others. Thank you.
Chalo, chalo.